Okay, guys, so we're looking at 6.7 honors, 5.7 math 7. We're going to solve inequalities using the distributive property. It says, essential question, how does solving a multi-step inequality compare with solving a multi-step equation? Pretty much the same thing, okay? Again, biggest factor here is you need to switch the inequality. Right now, it's greater than or equal to. You would need to switch it to less than or equal to if we end up dividing by a negative. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to follow the Pemdas. Okay, parentheses first, Pemdas. So in other words, I'm going to take this 3 because it's next to the parentheses and multiply it by these two numbers. Now, I would say that, but actually now that I evaluate it, if you look at this, these two can be combined. In other words, this can be 3 multiplied by a -2. Since the two terms can be combined within the parentheses, we don't need to distribute on this side. And this would be +2. And this is still going to be less than or greater than or equal to, but this one will have to be distributed. In other words, the 2 multiplied by a -x is a -2x, and then a 2 multiplied by a +3 is a +6, and then we stick that +4 on there. Now, at this point, we're still following the order of operations. Right here, I'm going to multiply. Okay, a positive multiplied by negative, -6 plus 2, greater than or equal to. I separate these terms. I can combine these two. -2x plus 10. I can still combine these two. This becomes -4 is greater than or equal to -2x plus 10. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more, so I'm going to move this over here, okay? So I'm going to rewrite it. -4 greater than or equal to a -2x plus 10. Now, hopefully by now, you have learned how to isolate the variable and balance the equation. At this point, we want to isolate x. I'm going to do that by separating the terms. This one right here, this +10, is not connected in to a single term with the x. So I'm going to get rid of the +10 by subtracting 10. But remember, I cannot do that without doing it over here also. So we're going to subtract 10 here also. This is gone. This is a -14 greater than or equal to -2x. Now we're still trying to get x by itself. I need to get rid of the -2. So I'm going to divide by -2. Don't forget, the negatives next need to cancel each other out, so we have a positive. So it's a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X ends up by itself. But I have to divide by -2 over here also. Now don't forget, this is what I'm talking about. If we divide by a negative, then we have to switch the sign. This is no longer greater than or equal to. It is less than or equal to. These two cancel out. These cancel out. X by itself, like I said. Negatives cancel out here. 14 divided by 2 is 7. That's my answer. Okay, guys, that's my answer. Now, in order to go through and actually graph this, I go through, I put 0 down, and I put 7. 7 is on this side of 0. I'm going to put a circle here. Can it be equal to? Yes, it can. So I fill this in. Now I read this. 7 is less than x. What? So x is greater than 7. What's greater than 7? Everything on this side of the number line. Okay, guys? So like I said, this took me a long time to solve, okay? But I'm showing all the steps. So I need you guys to do the same so you get good practice, and make sure you ask if there's something you don't understand. Now, This is pretty interesting. Excel number 7 from this one actually has 2 parts. Okay, so we have this part first. We're using the distributive property. There's a 4 next to the parentheses. These 2 terms cannot be combined. So I'm going to multiply this here and then multiply this here. Okay, so that's our first step. So when I multiply these, I get 6z plus 7 is less than 19. So we're multiplying the numbers. Okay, guys, do you see that? Now, I'm still isolating the variable, right? That means any term that is not combined with the variable will go first. So minus 7, oops, I put a 9 there. Minus 7, because we're adding 7, we'll subtract 7, but I have to do it over here too. Subtraction property of equality, right? This is gone. 6z is left, and it's less than, we subtract 7, this is 12. Still need to get z by itself, so we divide by 6. We divide by 6 here. Now notice, we're not dividing by a negative here. We're dividing by a positive. So this sign, this inequality, will stay the same. So this cancels out. Z is less than 2. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Now I do my graph. We have 0. 2 is on this side of 0. We put a circle. Okay. Is it equal to it? No, it's not. So that circle stays open. Okay. Z is less than 2. What's less than 2? 1, 0. So my arrow is going to go this direction. Okay, guys? Hopefully that makes sense. If not, like I said, ask me questions in class. All right, let's do the second part of Excel number 7. I could have just left you on it, but I decided, nope, I'm going to do it too, okay? So this is the second part. Again, we're using the distributive property, so we're pretty much solving this the same way. 2 multiplied by 1 9/10 z and 2 multiplied by a positive 3 5/10. I'm just going to grab my notes here. This ends up being 3 8/10 z plus 7, okay? And then this is greater than or equal to a negative 4 4/10. Now, we need to go through and actually isolate the variable. We're going to get z by itself, right? That means I have to subtract 7. That means I'm subtracting 7 over here. This is gone. This leaves me with 3 8/10 z. This is greater than or equal to negative 11 4/10. I'm still getting z by itself, right? So I'm going to divide by 3 8/10. Divide by 3 8/10 over here. Division property of equality, right? This is gone. Z is by itself. And because we're not dividing by a negative again, this inequality stays the same, greater than or equal to a negative 3. Now, we do the same thing, right? This time, though, I'm going to put 0 here, and negative 3 would be on this side. I'm going to put that circle above it. Can it be equal to it? Yes, it can. So we're going to fill in that circle. So you got to fill it in, okay? Now we need to read this. Z is greater than negative 3. What's greater than negative 3? Everything this direction. And that's all I'm expecting for a graph, guys. I just want to see that you have an understanding. All right? So hopefully that went over well. Hopefully you understand the information. If you don't, ask me questions in class, and we will talk to you soon.